Hey smiths, silversmith, metalsmith, coppersmith, whatever you are. You're here because you like to make jewelry and you want to learn something. So today I'm going to talk to you about Tucker Tools. Really cool little company that makes a lot of metal stamping dies and bead molds, graduated bead molds, and shot plates. On some of my other videos, you guys have seen me make a lot of my pieces using the Tucker Tool shot plate. And they make several. Some have flowers and some have stars. Anyway, very cool little tool, and I use it a lot in my pieces. As jewelers, we're always looking for ways to make our pieces more unique. And one of the ways that we find it are by embellishments. And at the end I'm going to show you. I know you've already seen some of my videos where I use the Tucker Tool shot plate. So I'm just going to give you a couple of tips on how to use that more effectively at the end of this video. Die. And if all goes well, I'll be making some more videos for you about some of Jerry's other awesome tools. But I really hope you'll let him know that you like his tools, and then you'll contact him. You can buy them directly right on his website. It's tuckertool.com, and I'll post a link at the end of the video for you where you can get that with your saw. But Jerry at Tucker Tools has made this really easy for us. As a matter of fact, these tools have been around for a very long time. You know, there's a book called Indian Jewelry Making, and Jerry's tools are featured in there. There's quite a few little dies that he makes. And we are going to be talking about this one today. This one is actually called a bicurvate embossing die. And they come left and right, male and female. Now these are the female, and these are the male. Okay, so I just wrote down here, you're going to get a female and a male, and there's a, these are called bicurvate embossing dies, and that's what the final result will look like. There's a left and a right, and you can see that they're both facing different ways. If I lay them side by side, you know, they're opposites, and that's why you get the two. And this is what the dies look like. So this is your female die, and this is your male. Yes. Correct. The female goes in, the male comes out. And this is the same here. This is just one in the opposite direction. So you've got your left and your right facing ones. Now what I like to do, because these dies fit into each other, like this. When you're hammering, you're going to lay this one in a vise and you're going to hit it with this one. And it works very similar to a hydraulic press, where you're going to get a 3D image. So what you're going to get is something that looks like this. A 3D image. And that is very similar to hydraulic press. You can also use for die forming. But I've never found anything that was as easy to use as these. Certainly not a hydraulic press with the cost of the expense of all the equipment you have to buy. And then the dies, finding the right dies are impossible. Jerry has been making these, like I said, for a long time. And, you know, for $100 you can get a set of these, and you're on your way to using them. I've never found a die this small like this. And maybe they'll make some, and that's cool too, because I do also have a press. Anyway, so that's how they work. And some of the cool things that you can do with them, I like to cut them out. And when you cut them out, you can use them as embellishments, like we were talking about. So just an example, let's say you're going to set this gorgeous little cabochon on a piece of silver, and you wanted to make like a sunburst. You could simply place these little dies all the way around. This would make an awesome pendant, or an awesome, oops, can't pick that one up there. Just a little idea of some things you can do. Now, again, you can emboss them right into the back plate, or you can cut them out. The other thing you can do with these is you can texture them. So I'm going to show you a picture where somebody's actually gone in and done some stamping around them and made some kind of cool texture. Right here, where someone has gone in on the edge and used kind of a little line stamp, and they've just stamped around just to make it a little bit more interesting. Here, maybe you could see it better. There you go. where someone has gone and actually made a whole nother trace. That's really cool. Looks like they just used another stamp and went right on top of it and all around it. And down here, it looks like somebody may have graved. You couldn't really stamp into it that way, so they might have used a graver or a saw blade just to go around and do the edges there. If you used a stamping tool, I would think you would cave it in, but perhaps not. If this is 18 gauge metal, then maybe not. And that's usually what they use for belt buckles. So anyway, but I'm going to show you how I use it. Now, I use mine to make things like this. Let me just back up a minute for you. I know you're not going to be able to see too well. There you go. So I make pieces like this. And it's a very cool, and on the back I've got one of Jerry's little shot plate balls. And I use his little balls exclusively on the back of my big boho rings. And you can see the little shot plate. This one I drilled a little hole in. And let's see, there's one right there in the front of this BC2, if you can see it. And I'll show you some more pictures at the end, close up, so you can see them better. And here's one where I used on a little pendant, one of Jerry's little, I don't know if you can see that very well. There you go, right there. But it makes your pieces unique and interesting if you can add a lot of things that no one else has. So let's get going, and I'm going to show you how to use the shop, guys. So the very first thing you want to do is go to your scrap pile of silver, because you don't need to use anything too fantastic for this method. This is a piece of scrap I got out of my scrap box, and it's a little bit too thick. This is probably a 20 gauge piece. So I'm going to take it over to my mill and I'm going to make it into a 24 gauge. You could do 26 gauge. You could even do metal foil if you want, but remember, if it's going to go on a ring, it needs to be a bit durable. If it's going to go on a pendant, it can be a little lighter. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the mill and roll this out till we get the right gauge of metal. Okay, so here I am at my bench. Right now I've got a 20, oh, and if you don't have one of these, this is an American Standard General wire gauge, and it's good for metal and it's good for wire. So, and on it, it has different gauges. It'll say 20, 21, 18, 19, and you're just going to find the slot that it fits in easily. And that's 20 gauge right there. I don't know if you can see that. On silver, you don't need to wrap it or sandwich it because it's soft enough. You can just take it and roll it through. Make it a little bit tighter. I'm sure this is going to be good because it's nice and tight. There we go. Okay. Let's see what we got now. I am confident I have gotten to a 24 gauge. And ta-da! It's just getting more, there we go, 24 gauge. Can you see that? That's where we are, nice and tight. I'm going to have to anneal this because in putting it into the rolling mill, I've absolutely work hardened it, and it's way too hard for me to use in a forming. So we're back with a little annealed piece of silver. I just took my, these are great shears, by the way, if you need a pair of nice shears. These are called La Forbis, and I talk about them all the time. La Forbis Rio Grande, and I've had these for several years and they still cut great. Anyway, and the handles are comfortable, unlike some of those Joyce Chen shears. These are really comfortable and easy to use. Okay, so we've got a piece of metal cut. Now, what we're supposed to do is to take the female die right there, and I mark my set. So my left set both have numbers 1. So this, I know that these two match. Your other two will match. You have a left set and a right set we talked about, and I marked them number 2. You could also mark them right and left. I just chose 1 and 2. So anyway, these match, they go together. When I stamp them, they'll go this way. But for now, we need to make an impression on our 24 gauge sheet here. So I'm going to start here with the nice big hammer. Give it a couple of whacks, and I've got a nice edge. You need this edge. If you don't have this edge, you're not going to be able to do the next step. So I can feel it, it's deep in there, and I'm good to go. The next thing I want to do is to put this in my vise. And that is the female. So let's do that now. Okay, so I've got my stamp in here. My female is in the vise, and I'm going to lay this on and we're going to puff it out. I just want to make a note. This would be a great time to do your border stamping. If you wanted to do any little dots or anything around the outside, this would be a great time before you form it, because the outside edges really won't be affected. And once it's formed, it'll be a little trickier to do that. But let's say right now I wanted to go and I wanted to just put, you know, some little lines around the edges. I could take just like a little chasing tool, and I could go and I could dot, 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 and get those little lines. Okay, so anyway, this side where it's puffed out and the other side is the back, you can tell. The side that you struck it on is the side that you want to put face down here. And you'll feel it. It'll go on, it'll kind of click in there. And if you don't feel it, just straighten your pieces out a little bit. There, see, but I can feel it. It's in there. So I know that it's there. And now I can take my female die and begin to hammer. Or here's my male. He's going to go on top. And I've got a real big heavy hammer here, and I'm just going to tap it. You want to rotate it about a quarter turn in both directions. And here we go. Now we're done. I've got a nice clean die. Now if you don't feel your edges are crisp enough, there's one step further you can take this. Let me make it a little bit flatter. Flatten out the edges. So I can go back in with this one, which is my female, and I'm just going to lay it right over the top. And I'm going to strike this again. And now I have a really nice sharp line and a sharp edge all the way around this. Now I could take my snips and cut this out, this little shape here, and then filer or grind down around the sides, or I can use my jeweler saw and go in and do the same thing. But when you're done, you're going to end up with, and they're going to look like this. These are the little pieces you can use to decorate. Now you're not quite finished yet, because if you're going to use them cut out that fine, you're going to need to kind of file an edge down. There we go. Okay, now as you can see, this edge is super fine, and I don't think solder would connect all the way around. So what I do is I lay them on just a flat piece of 500 grit sandpaper, and I rub like this. And by doing so, you get a nice edge, and I want you to just see the difference. See the difference? There's a little bit of glare there. See if I can get that glare out. But there was a nice flat edge on this one. A little lip. This one I didn't do, and I will do it, but I just haven't done it yet. So rub them on some sandpaper, throw them in the tumbler, and they are shiny, 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 and pretty, and ready to be used on your jewelry that I made with them. And I really dig this piece. It's just so different and unique, and you're not going to see anybody else doing this until after this video. But yeah, so lots of little embellishments, and right here at the bottom I have the little starburst from the Tucker die plate with the added mustache die, or the bicurvate that they call it, and you can see I used a right and a left, so they're facing different directions. Okay, all right, so now I wanted to show you some. Okay, so just switching gears a little bit and going back to the Tucker Tool shop plates. I know a lot of you have those. You've seen them on my videos and you liked them, and you went to Jerry and you bought some, and that's cool. But you're having trouble getting the ball stuck in there. So there's a trick to this, and Jerry does have the instructions on his website, but sometimes it's easier if you see somebody do it. So the balls will get stuck. A couple of things you should always do is use a little bit of oil inside of these. For some lubricant, and I like to use 3-in-1 oil. I also use this on my rolling mill. So all you do is just take a little bit, and I like these. I'm gonna give you another little tip. If any of you ladies use Latisse, the eyelash stuff that makes your eyelashes grow, you know that the brushes that come with them suck and they're useless for applying it because you waste all the stuff. So everyone's always giving me their Latisse brushes, and if you ever come take a class from me, I send you home with a pack, because I think I have a garbage bag full of them. Seriously. Anyway, these are great little brushes. So I just put a drop of the 3-in-1 oil in my hand and my little cosmetic brush. And I brush it inside. You just want a light coat, okay? Inside. Dot, 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 dot. You should also just, maybe take a wipe. Anything that's steel in your shop, your files, all your stuff, keep it covered. I keep my rolling mill covered. You can see I've got bags over my ring stuff and my bench shear and all that stuff when I'm not using it because they'll get rusty just from patina and solder and all sorts of other things. Okay, so I've got some lube on here. The next thing I want to do is go to my bench and make a little silver ball. I'm not going to show you that because it's on my other videos. So, I already have one made. Ta-da! There's a little ball. Now, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to put it in the shot plate. So here's my little ball. I'm going to stick it into the shot plate. And I am going to grab a nail set. Now what you see here, these are nail sets. If you go to Harbor Freight, you can get a set of 3 of these very cheap. I just want to show you the deal with these. They're for setting nails, obviously. But they have the size on them. 1/16 is the red, 3/32 is the yellow, and the magic one is the 1/32. That's the one you want to use here. If you need a smaller one for really tiny holes, there's one really tiny hole in the shot plate that you might need the smaller one for. But this one is the one Jerry says to use, which is a 1/32. So you can get these at Harbor Freight in a 3-pack. They're very cheap. You take it, whack your ball. It's stuck in there, right? You can't get it out. Okay, here we go. Now, at this point, I've got a great little ball. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there, we'll just get a little bit closer. Closer still. There we go. Okay. But I've got kind of a nasty, funky edge around there. If you want to get that off, you can keep it on here and do your filing. You can just run a file all the way around the edges while it's on here. And that's actually a really great way to stabilize it so that you can file it. Or you can also take like a Dremel tool or something. Or you can use your flex shaft with a soft silicone tip. And just go around the edges. And you'll get a nice, even little band. Or, if you don't even want that lip, you can try to file it off in some way. Gosh, why am I blurry here? Stop being blurry. Oop, there we go. Okay. So that's the tip. And now to get this off, because it is stuck on here, just take a pair of pliers. Chain nose are fine. Put your finger over the end. You didn't see that very well, but that's how I get it off. Just take a pair of chain nose pliers and twist and twist and twist until it comes off the end. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed your Tucker tool demo. If you did, tell Jerry you want Leslie to make some more videos for him, okay? All right, peeps. Have a good day and make some beautiful things.